TCU's running a little behind getting here, so as soon as they get here, we'll begin. We'll blame Monster Jam. Those things were so loud. Like, the window, I mean, it's a pretty thick window. And I know it wasn't as, but I could still hear. It didn't really bother me. I was more intrigued.
Yeah.
So I went to Capella's to get pizza, and it was great people watching.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
But people were dressed up. I mean, it was like.
Yeah.
I thought it would be real rednecky, and I saw that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, apparently they sold out tickets like 3 months. Like they've been sold out 3 months ago.
So I'm on the top floor, and I got to look down, and I was like, there's not an empty seat in that facility.
Yeah. We had Preston, who's managing all of this for us. He took his son last year, and like we were all kind of making fun of him when he came to our concert game. He's like, no, y'all don't understand. It's like it is going to be packed. It is going to be packed, and it's loud.
Well, I thought they were redoing this time of year you redo your grass, right? So they were in there dirt, and I thought, oh, okay, they're redoing the grass, and I had no idea at that point.
Yep.
And then this morning I woke up and the trucks were there removing the dirt.
Mhm. They're in and out, yeah. Because we have a soccer team, a minor league soccer team that plays out of that stadium.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that they probably have a game next week.
So this is their soccer season?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have, I can't keep up with it when the Stallions play because I know that sometimes.
It's coming up.
Yeah. So that season's about to start.
I saw advertising in the hotel on it.
And then I think that's all that's in there in the summer. And then UAB is in there in the fall.
Where do they play the state football championships there?
So they used to rotate between Auburn here and Tuscaloosa.
That's what
and
Mississippi
then with
does.
the playoff change, because there's a world in which Bama or Auburn can host a playoff game.
Right.
They will now rotate between here and Mobile.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah. So in Mississippi, this was funny. It was Ole Miss's year to host, and they came and said, we have a strong possibility of making the playoffs, and they did. I mean, it was kind of funny when they didn't make it.
Well, they had only had the conversation between technically UAB. I can't remember. I guess they rotate hosting the AAC championship game, and there's a world in which they can host it.
Right. Right.
I mean, it makes it easier for each day because they know
Right.
that they can rotate between those two sides.
Right.
I think our staff, because we help run that.
Okay.
Selfishly, we wanted to keep it here so that
Makes it a lot easier.
It makes it a lot
Yeah.
easier. It's a nicer facility. We think it will be better for ticket sales. It's just far from everywhere.
Yeah. And you don't feel like you're in Alabama when you're in Mississippi moved theirs to Hattiesburg, Southern Miss this year. They did a great job.
Yeah.
It's a smaller stadium. And I'm okay if they leave it there. They're never going to make the playoffs, so don't ever have to worry about that.
Pretty safe bet.
Safe.
Not in this lifetime.
Well, they're Conference USA. They've won 2 games in the last 2 years, and it's just. I mean, miracles happen. So.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we are ready to begin. Coach Campbell will make his opening comments, and then we will take questions. Please raise your hand, and we'll get a mic to you.
Well, just super excited and grateful that we get a chance to compete Monday night for a chance to go to a Final Four, and just to have another practice with this group of players and be able to just, continue this journey that's been magical and special.
Okay, we'll start here on the left, second row.
Stephen Johnson, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Mark, you got a chance to watch Texas live yesterday. I'm sure you've been digging into the film. Curious, just your first impressions of the Longhorns.
There's not many holes. They're incredible. They have size and great post play. They have depth, really athletic, have one of the best point guards in college basketball. And they're a 1 seed for a reason. So we're going to have to play a heck of a game. And Coach Vic and his staff obviously do a tremendous job at their system style of play. And so it's going to be a heck of a game, but we got our work cut out.
On the aisle to the left.
Hey, Mark, Danny Davis with the Austin American-Statesman. Just kind of going off that post-play comment, what are your impressions of Taylor Jones and Kyla Oldacre and what they bring to this Texas team?
Oh, incredible. I mean, they got as good a front court as anybody in the country. Taylor Jones is an athletic, strong, versatile post player, and the depth that they have at the post position, they got a lot of big bodies that they can throw at you, but they're a load. They're a load down there that wear on you, and so that's something that we're going to have to manage and deal with as best we can. Try to keep those kids off the glass and don't let them have deep post positions.
To the left.
Abby Halpin, USA Today. Coach, Gino and Kim Mulkey were very outspoken the other day in their press conferences about the super regional format and how that kind of goes. Do you have any thoughts on their opinions on it?
No, I'm just been focused on every ounce of energy, trying to figure out how to game plan for Notre Dame, and I got 48 hours to try to figure out how to slow down this Texas team.
To the left.
Wasser, Frogs Insider. Coach, how much does that familiarity, having played Texas last year and your first year at TCU when you guys were both members of the Big 12, help, despite the fact there's obviously a lot of new players on both sides?
Yeah, Coach Schaefer, his system and what they do, he doesn't really change it, and he's really good at it. And so it helps to be familiar with the system, but we have a whole new team, and obviously they have new players. So you can look at some film a little bit from last year, but really you're just scrubbing this year's team and trying to figure out what we got to do to have a chance to beat these guys.
To the right.
All the way in the back, Ben Pickman with The Athletic. Todd Golden of Florida was talking about it a little bit yesterday, how much Randy Bennett meant to him when they get to the Final Four. I guess for you, your time back at St. Mary's, I guess one, have you heard from Randy throughout this run, and how much did he influence your coaching philosophy, your offensive principles, how you want to run a program, things like that?
Yeah, Randy, I talk to him often, talk to him all throughout March. That's my mentor. That's who, showed me how to run a program. And our principles, a huge part of what we do is based on my time at St. Mary's. Obviously, they're one of the best pick and roll teams in college basketball. And so we've taken that. And then just the culture and how you build programs, and they have such you go back to St. Mary's in the offseason, all the former players are there training and working out. And so a huge part of what I do is because of Randy. And I'm thankful that he took me under his wing when I was just getting started in coaching. That was a long time ago, but I was probably 24, 25. And still call him when I got questions and decisions that I need to make. And he just has so much wisdom. And he's such a humble man. I mean, he's been at St. Mary's for 24 years now, I think it is, and has turned down a lot of powerful opportunities. And Todd Golden is a part of that coaching tree and played for Randy. And so I know he's loving getting to watch his former players and former staff kind of blossom.
To the left.
Hey, Mark, Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. How important was it for you to get Haley Van Lith to come in here and run this offense, and how big is the trickle-down effect she brings with her toughness on the court?
Yeah, Haley's a program changer. She was the perfect piece at the right time with the players we had returning, and the system and style of play that we run, obviously, we're pick and roll based, and you need dynamic playmaking guards. I've known Haley since she was about 15 and knew how talented she was as a playmaker, and she had never been used in that way. So it was a perfect match. We needed Haley, and we, preseason I said our goal is to unleash Haley Van Lith, and that's come to fruition. And but Haley's competitive spirit, I think you got to see it at the highest level yesterday on both sides of the court. She was impacting the game. She was defending. I mean, those two guards, Miles Hidalgo, are as good a backcourt as there is in the country, and I think they went 6 for 29. Haley had a huge part of that. And then on the offensive end, her playmaking skills, especially in the second half, she carried us. And so getting Haley here truly is a program-changing player. And to do what we need to do in our system, you have to have a dynamic playmaking guard that can manipulate pick and rolls and create the dominoes for us. And so it's been a perfect match. Forever grateful for Haley. It's just been a really, really fun ride, and we don't want this thing to end yet.
To the right, Brian.
Brianna Aldridge, CBS News Texas. Coach, Coach Vic yesterday talked about how special this is to have two teams representing Texas at this stage. What is it like for you to not only represent Texas, but also we talked about earlier in the season about having records set at TCU this year with just fan attendance. So how big is this for college fans for Texas?
It's awesome. I mean, you got to, it's the biggest stage in our sport, chance to go to the Final Four, and to play Texas, who's just down the street from us. It's just awesome for our state, because our state has some of the best women's basketball, high school players in the country, incredible coaches in Texas, and it shows that you don't have to leave our state to go compete at the highest level. And I have nothing but great respect for Coach Vic and his program and what he's built and what he's done since he's taken over there. So it's going to be an incredible battle, and excited to go tip off tomorrow night.
Al on the left.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Mark, can you kind of go back in time a little bit to when you took the TCU job? But how many people told you were crazy to go there, you're never going to win big, and the whole tryout thing? I don't know how many showed up and how many you kept from that tryout thing.
Yep. I don't know how many people know this story, but me and my family, we actually took the job at TCU sight unseen. Had never been to Fort Worth, had never been to TCU's campus. I'm a big man of faith, and this opportunity came about, and the best way to put it, I just had total peace about the opportunity that was in front of us. And so we were at Little Sacramento State and just had the best season in school history there, and somehow Jeremiah Donati found me. And so when I was studying it from afar, I thought TCU was a sleeping giant in women's basketball. And as you just dove into it, it's private, it's 11,000 students, it's small. Fort Worth is this incredible city. Campus is beautiful and resources, and so it's neat. So we took a leap of faith and accepted the job, and my first time on campus was, flew in the day before my press conference. And to see what's transpired, 2 years. It's actually 2 years from today. Last week was my 2 years from when I got hired. And, you had the Underfrog story when we had the injuries. We had 4 walk-ons that came to the tryout that we kept. And that's kind of the reality is in life. You're going to face adversity. You're going to have trials that you got to work through and overcome and navigate. But I think last year laid a foundation of toughness and resilience and fight. for our program that's carried over now that we added the talent level that we have to the foundation from last year. And that combination is why we're, 34-3. We're in the Elite Eight. And so it was no fun, but I'm thankful for last year, thankful for that journey. And Ella Hamlin is the one underfrog that's still a part of our team and a huge part of it. And so it's been a magical journey these 2 years.
To the front.
Olivia Noni, USA Today. Coach, can you talk a little bit more about the story behind how you met Haley? Did your paths cross in Washington?
Yeah, so I was associate head coach at University of Oregon, and Haley was this young prodigy coming up in a small town in eastern Washington, Kashmir, and everybody had heard and knew about Haley. And so at that time, Oregon, we were rolling and had the #1 team in the country. So we were recruiting Haley really hard and just developed a great relationship with her and her family. And then you end up going different ways, over the last 5 years. And I ended up taking my first head job at Sac State, and Haley went to Louisville. And when she went in the portal then, just reached out when I was at Sac State. Didn't think we could get her, but just, asked the family if they need any help, if they have any questions. And they navigated that process. And then when she went to LSU and ended up in the portal again, that story's pretty neat. Without knowing it, Haley told her dad that I want to talk to Mark. And at that time, Corey was like, "You sure?" They just had open tryouts and this season and had to forfeit games. And Haley said, "Yeah, I want to talk to Mark." And so I had a chance to talk with Corey and Haley, and they came out and visited, and the rest is history. So it's just neat. It's a moment that's really come full circle due to relationships that were built many years ago.
Front.
Testing. This is Poppy with USA Today. I read an article on Caitlin Clark last year and learned that it can be hard to coach a superstar.
Yeah.
So what was your coaching approach when you decided to bring in Van Lith?
Haley's been incredible. I think the journey that she's been on, and for my coaching style and our culture, was a perfect fit. Like she had a major chip on her shoulder. She also had the Olympic opportunity that was in front of her, and so she had to turn the page from her LSU experience quickly and start getting ready for Paris. And then she is the ultimate competitor, ultimate winner. And so we have been attached at the hip. All our film sessions, we do individual meetings together. But she has this incredible basketball IQ, incredible feel for people, and there's this warrior spirit. And so she's able to, in her 9 months, navigate the locker room, build relationships with her teammates. They absolutely love her. And be willing to learn a brand new system, and which she has worked so hard to study it, to figure it out, of what we need from her in order to win. And then she will run through a freaking wall for you while she's trying to do that. And so there's been no difficulty. She has been such a blessing and so fun to navigate this process with. And each player's different, but this Haley at this time has been incredible.
Our final question to the right.
Hey, Coach, Doug Fine from VAP. Can you talk a little about the growth of Sedona? I mean, you had her back in Oregon, I think, a couple of years before, and see what she's doing now for you guys. I guess she's the oldest of the old frogs, so to speak.
Yeah, Sedona it's been 6 years that I've got to, be a part of her and see her grow and develop. I think last night was her most dominant physical game as a post player. She is so skilled. If she was allowed to, she'd love to shoot 15, 17 footers all game. And she's so skilled that she can. But there's also games when you need to give us a low post presence and bang and be physical. And she got to the free throw line 12 times last night, drew 9 fouls, and then competed on both ends of the court. But Sedona's growth, her maturity, her evolution as a player, it's as much as any person that I've ever been around in the college game. And so it's really neat to see that evolution. And Same thing, similar to Haley, Sedona's maturity of that's what's made this whole thing work, you guys. And not just Sedona. So the Haley, Sedona, Madison trio, the only way the portal will work with these elite talents, they all have to lose themselves and be willing to be all in. And Sedona is the most selfless personality, and she's a superstar, and she's all in. Of however many shots she gets, she doesn't care. Haley's never asked about how many shots she gets. She doesn't care. Madison Connor doesn't care. The big three, truly find joy in each other's success and winning. And in Sedona, back to you, she has such a humble spirit that way. And it's funny, early on in young people in their college career are in a kind of wrestling match with themselves. These three have let that go. And that's why the magic has happened, and that's why we've been able to do what we've done.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Go Frogs.
Good
Thank
luck
you, sir.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
This one likes to speak first, so you have to tell her.
All right, you get to speak first.
Opening statement?
No.
No, please no. Opening statement from Sedona.
Yeah, we're just going to go straight to questions. So we'll start right here on the second row.
Stephen Johnson, Fort Worth Stars Telegram. Sedona, I think you heard most of what Mark was just saying with that last question. What does it mean to you just hear him kind of give that type of praise to you both, what you've been doing on the court and what you've been doing off of it as well, too?
Yeah, I was standing off to the side. Yeah, I mean, Mark is known Mark now for 6 years of my 7-year journey. And so it's been a blessing to, been put across his path in such a unique way, right? He was obviously our assistant at Oregon and had a very strong connection with him. But it was difficult because you kind of tell like he was, destined to break out to be a head coach. And he's so special. He's such an amazing leader. And I just told myself, when I left Oregon, I was like, man, I wish I could be coached by Mark Campbell. He was at Sac State. I went to go visit him and Niara down there when I was out of college and just got to, experience him as a head coach. And just, again, I was like, man, I wish I could be coached by him. I wish I had another chance. And, to be blessed with these 2 years with him has been so incredible. And it's an honor. He's been such an amazing leader to me. He's been so patient with me. He knows that he's witnessed my journey for many years. He knows the kind of trauma I've been put through and kind of experienced throughout my college career. And so he's very, very patient with my process, and he has been. And I'm so grateful for him. And he's given me so much room to grow. He's given me so many resources on how to improve my game on and off the court, mentally, physically. And I'll forever be grateful for him. Truly, he is an amazing human, amazing coach. And he is the reason for my career, truly.
Second row right here.
Melissa Treebwasser, Frogs Insider. Everyone's talking about Texas's depth, and obviously a lot has been asked of the three of you guys and the starting five, not just this weekend, but all season. How are you feeling at this point, and how do you kind of push through, I'm sure, kind of the physical toil of a long year?
I feel amazing. It's
Same.
great.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine.
Yeah.
No issues.
Yep.
Okay, to the left aisle.
Annie Davis, Austin American Statesman. Sedona, I'm not sure if you remember playing against her at Oregon State. And I think you may have played against her maybe once in high school. But what are your thoughts on Taylor Jones and kind of her game?
Yeah, no, I know Taylor very well. I know her family well. Played against each other, I think, almost maybe 3 times in high school basketball tournaments. And then she was at Oregon State. I was at Oregon. Played her a few times there. And now we get each other in Texas, which I think is really cool. But yeah, Taylor's awesome. She's an amazing girl. Really respect her family. I've known them for a long time. They're very, very sweet people and kind people. And it's been really cool, right? She's an amazing player, and it's been fun to match up with her kind of everywhere along my journey. And so I'm excited. It's going to be a battle down there. And also, I've been going on, we kind of haven't seen each other in quite a long time, right? But I've worked really hard and grown my game, and I know that she has. And so it's the same matchup, but much different because we've grown into completely different players.
Al to the right.
Hey, Thomas Ashworth at thehill.com. Madison, when you think about that first contact that you had with TCU and the coaching staff, can you just kind of talk about or remember that first interaction, first impression, and just kind of how you've grown since then, kind of forming into this player that you are this year?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had a copy and paste message to Mark that said, like, hey, thanks for reaching out, but I think I'm going to go in a different way. And my high school coach called me right before I sent that text, and he was like, just give him a chance. Like, listen to him. Give him a call and just hear what he has to say. You don't have to go there, but whatever. So he FaceTimed me the first time we talked, and it was just a great conversation. He was extremely humble. He was like, to be honest, like, I have nothing really to offer you but an opportunity. He knew a whole bunch about my game. He'd studied my game, things that I honestly didn't even know about myself because I was put in such a box at my previous school that, like, he was telling me things that he could see in me. And I talked to him, and then I called one of my former teammates at Arizona because she played for him when he was an assistant coach at Oregon. She was like, bro, you have to go there. So I went on my visit, and him and the staff are just such humble people. They were trying to sell a 1-in-17 program. It wasn't really a sell. There was no money. It was no nothing. It was just an opportunity, and I can see you as a person and as a player, and we're going to develop you here. We're going to create something great. And we watched film on my visit. We talked. Sedona was actually on my visit when I was there as well, and me and her had multiple conversations, and we were like, let's do something. And I just took a leap of faith in myself and in the staff, and I think it's turned out pretty good so far. So, yeah.
To the right.
Katie Barnes, ESPN's for Haley. Last year, I think a lot of people said a lot of things very publicly, kind of doubting you and whether or not you'd sit here again and whether or not you could have the kind of game that you had last night. And so considering everything that you've been through over the past year, what do you have to say to those who ever doubted you?
I don't even have anything to say. Their opinions never cashed with me. They can take their 2 cents to the bank. You like that one?
That's a good one. Oh, that was so savage of you.
Yeah.
Got him.
No. Okay, let me be
so
serious.
savage.
No. I mean, like, it really doesn't matter. It never mattered. A lot of people have opinions, and social media has basically given a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about a platform to share their thoughts. And that's not, it just is what it is. It's real life, and I'm praying for them, man. Hope their life is good. That's what I have to say.
Facts, yeah.
To the far right.
Newey Scruggs, NBC5 in Dallas. Question for all three ladies. Have you allowed yourself to think about the opportunity that you could be cutting down the nets and going to the Final Four in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it a lot. Obviously, we have a huge game to win. So super excited to get to compete on that stage against 2 Texas schools, which is actually really cool, and we haven't played each other at all this year yet. So I think, the narrative around this game is cool, and I'm happy to be a part of it. But, you definitely know what you're fighting for, and I feel something in my heart for these girls, and like I said last game, like, I'm gonna go out there and play as hard as I can. I'm gonna give everything I have. If I have to dive on every ball, I'll do it if it'll get us an extra possession. So that's my mentality, and I'm really hoping to advance.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's really cool too how this shift in Big 12 basketball and how it's been Baylor, Texas for so many years. Watched Baylor, Texas growing up, right, being from Austin. And those are the 2 powerhouses, right? And now being a part of the shift and seeing it, beating Baylor 3 times this year, and there's a complete overturn of power in the Big 12, and kind of dominated and made it known that we're the #1 team in the Big 12. And it'll be kind of cool. It's a great challenge, right? Old Big 12 team, big champions, to go up against them. They're an amazing team. But yeah, we thought about it too at the Big 12 tournament, right? It's in my head of like, man, how special would that feeling be? standing on the stage with these girls and these coaches and Mark and just celebrating in this. There's so much we have been through as people, as individuals, but as a team, so much work we've done. And of course, you think about it, but you know how much it takes in order to get there and how it's going to be an absolute street fight tomorrow.
Going to the aisle to the left.
Kurt Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Obviously, you girls are way too uptight. Need to loosen up a little bit. Sedona, if you can go back, you mentioned trauma in your life, and it's been very public for you. Growing up in the Austin area, signing with Texas, can you go back and just kind of look at those feelings and your departure and how that shaped you as a person?
Yeah, I don't think I really realized how much it had affected me until probably this year, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I'm from Austin, raised in Austin, committed in 8th grade. And Texas was my dream school, 40 minutes away from where I grew up. And it was my family, and I won't really go into details in it because it's a long time ago, and there are things if you want to go research it. But yeah, I mean, it was a very, very difficult year for me as a young woman, as a young player, to be thinking I was a part of a family and to be treated in the way that I was. And so, I held a lot in my heart and my soul that I didn't know that I was carrying around for a long time. And I didn't really, you don't really realize how much trauma can affect you until, all of a sudden you're hit with a wall, and then it's like, oh man, this has been weighing me down for a very long time. And so, the staff isn't there, but I have so much respect for Vic and what he's done with the program. I think he's an amazing coach. And I have no hard feelings. I've healed from it. It's shaped me into a better person. I'm so grateful. I truly am for that year and for where it led me. To go to Oregon, to leave college and to come here. There's nothing else that could have led me here and taught me so many valuable lessons and shaped me into the person I am today without going through those, atrocities that I went through.
To the left.
Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. Haley's a member of Louisville. You went to Austin and you guys eliminated the Longhorns. What do you remember about that experience? And because there are some of the same players you'll be facing, and what makes them a tough matchup in the backcourt?
What I remember, mostly we didn't get a host that year. We had to go into Texas. They were supposed to beat us by a lot. And they, it was kind of like Louisville DNA came out there where we just scrapped out on defense, and I think we ended up winning by double digits at least. But it was a great game. We played really well. I think, Rory might have got hurt at some point in that game, so she didn't play the whole game. But all I remember, it was a great win for us. We pulled off an upset on their home court, which was huge. And that Louisville team that I was a part of, nobody thought we were going to be anything. We weren't ranked at the end of the year. We obviously didn't get a host. Everyone had us losing. So that's kind of what I remember. But this year, they're a completely different team from the last time I played them. But I think, they're elite defensively. Their backcourt, they have a lot of athletic, strong guards who can do different things. They're versatile. They have a lot of different personnel. So personnel and knowing the scout will be huge. And at the end of the day, the theme of the NCAA tournament is toughness. And so they're going to be tough. We know they're going to be tough. They have that DNA in them. So, we're going to have to match that.
Front right.
Nick Geramonte, TCU on SI. Haley, I read that your left leg is like a half inch shorter than your right. Is it tougher
That's true.
to fade one way or the other, or drive one way or the other? With that?
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
It's a long story, you guys. I don't share everything with you. Okay. No, it is, and it does. It actually has. There's a lot of physiological issues that I deal with because of it. My whole right side is stronger and bigger. You can my hand is bigger, my foot is bigger, my quad is bigger. You can see it if you really look at me, if you're around me a lot. And yes, I definitely always prefer to plant off my right leg. I think fading to my left is a lot more comfortable because, the leg is shorter, so it probably doesn't really touch the ground as much. Just weird things like that. But yes, that's true, and I deal with it every day. But at this point in my career, I'm older, and I know how to manage my body in that way.
Is that why you're clumsy?
Yeah, bro. What?
Is that why you're so clumsy?
I'm not clumsy.
What are you talking about? You
Any
just
additional
fell.
questions?
Just fell into the chair.
He's sick of you guys, so just be
You
quiet.
didn't tell us we were lopsided, bro.
Okay, ladies, thank you.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
apologize for these.
Sorry. Can you walk? Peg leg.
Coach. How you doing?
Good, Greg. How are you?
Very, very good. You guys staying close, or they got you out? You staying close? That's good. Okay, we are ready to begin with Coach Schaefer. He'll give an opening statement, and then we'll take your questions. As a reminder, there is no video allowing, and please state your name and affiliation when we get you a mic. Ready? Yes, sir.
I have an NIL deal with Hilton. Morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Just going back to yesterday, just again want to commend Tennessee and Coach Caldwell and their team. They've had a heck of a year, and it was another knockdown drag-out, which when I shook her hand before the game, I told her I knew it was going to be one. And a lot of respect and admiration for that program, the history of that program. Obviously, being around as long as I have, I know what that program, as well as my own, has meant to women's basketball. So to be a part of that game in the NCAA tournament was really humbling and honorable. I don't think there's enough time in the day. There's not enough words that I can use to describe my pride for my team. We lost two starters throughout the course of the season. Layla Filia, who's a first-team All-Big Ten player, really never got off the ground. And then to lose Aaliyah Moore 7 games into conference. And this team just keeps on rolling. And, you have to give them credit. It's not always pretty. We certainly have plenty of faults, all my fault. But we certainly find a way, have that toughness about us, and find a way to get through it. And so I'm really proud of my kids. Winning 34 games is really hard, y'all, and it's commendable on their part. As far as our game tomorrow, obviously we're about 3.5 hours apart from each other in our old conference. Have a lot of familiarity with each other. Coach has done a great job with them, and they've had a heck of a year. So we're obviously going to have to play well. They're on a hot streak themselves, and they have great players. So they have players that can make plays, and I think that's the thing you have to acknowledge. When things break down, they have players that can go make a play, and that in and of itself is problematic sometimes. You can go through everybody's sets, which we do. My staff is so good and so thorough, but when you have to deal then with somebody that can go make a play, that becomes problematic. And so TCU can make plays, and so we're going to have to be really, really good and on point with what we're doing and how we're doing it defensively, and then offensively we've got to take care of the ball as always. And again, this is, believe it or not, this is one of my better shooting teams. I've said this before, I'll say it again. My national championship team in 2011, we had a four-minute drill, and 90 makes was the goal. This team makes, the goal is 135, and we have it every day, and we make it every day. So a little bit unfair how my team's been perceived shooting-wise when I look at it every day and know what they're capable of. So we've just got to take care of the ball. I mean, we shoot the ball. I think we shot 46% yesterday, 47. So questions?
Okay, we're going to go to the back right.
Hey, Coach. Thomas Ashworth with AL.com. You're plenty familiar with the state. Can you just kind of speak to the magnitude of, two Texas teams playing, not just in, the NCAA tournament, but for a spot, for a chance to go to the Final Four specifically?
Well, I'd like to say that, it's that we all have nothing but Texas kids, but that would not be true. He has kids from all over. I have kids from all over, but I think I certainly have some really good Texas kids. But I think it speaks to really the commitment of two institutions, and it's unique for sure to have two teams, but I'm sure it's happened before. But as I said, they have really good players, and they have a really good plan, and he's done a great job coaching them. So it's it's a game that obviously we're going to have to really do a good job defensively. We're going to have to do a great job executing offensively. And again, you've got to deal with veteran kids. I don't know how many years Sedona's been playing, but it seems like a very long time. I know Haley's been around 5 years. And so you're going to have to deal with, and they have plenty of other players. You're going to have to deal with kids that can make plays, and that's problematic in and of itself.
On the front, right?
Wesley Branch, USA Today Network. Coach, Gino Auriemma and Kim Mulkey kind of offered their thoughts last night on the layout of the regional. Not sure if you saw what they said or not, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are on the layout of how the regionals have shaked out in this tournament, and how you'd maybe like to see them change, if at all.
I knew somebody was going to ask me that today. I was the Lone Ranger last year. I experienced what they're complaining about now. I experienced it last year, and I was kind of the Lone Ranger. But I have to agree with them. I mean, it just, we're trying to have a press conference right now, and it sounds like there's a deadgum party next door. Last year I had a press conference, and they had some machine backing up with the beep, beep, beep going on. I mean, there just seems to me that there can be better organization and better planning all around. And this is not it, as I would tell my kids. But they're right. You got to get them up at 7 in the morning for a 30-minute shoot around at the most important time of the year. It's just, there's 8 teams here. It's problematic. And so it's just, I would agree. I guess I probably just better leave it at that. I would agree with what they said.
To the right.
Vic, we've touched on this a couple times in the last couple months, but today is the 39-year anniversary of the '86 team winning their national championship. And wondering if you could reflect on kind of the standard that team has set for your program.
Well, that record of 34-0, as you know, hangs in my practice gym. It's pretty big, hanging up there, and it kind of looms over the court. And, obviously that was a team of excellence, and that's what we're chasing. And so, I mean, you think about it, anytime you can win that many games in a season, go undefeated. I mean, that team with Clarissa Davis and that group was so special and so dominant. I mean, that was a day and age in the Southwest Conference when, they were just a dominant program. And so it's certainly something that I'm aware of. I think I made mention of it last night, that this team has tied that record for wins in a season. And so it is something that we acknowledge, and we see it every day in our practice gym. And, just like Coach Conrad, we're all trying to chase that greatness.
To the front, right here.
Hey, Coach, Doug Feinberg, the AP.
Hey, Doug.
You and I have been around for a minute.
A couple
minutes. Rory was talking the other day about the mental health aspect of getting back from her injury.
Yeah.
It seems there's been more of a growth of sports psychology for players in the last few years. Can you talk about what you've seen from the mental aspect of players talking to people? It seems more now than maybe 10, 15 years ago, and how it's helped them and helped programs grow and help players get better.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, because up until, 5, 8, 10 years ago, I have my kids in the old days. I haven't at Texas because we had COVID, and then it's not quite as, I don't want to say convenient, but it's just not as easy. But I had my kids sign my door every day. I wanted to see them outside of basketball. I wanted to see them outside of a practice jersey. Coach Harris, who was my associate head coach, wanted to make sure she saw what they were wearing to class. They weren't rolling out of bed, rolling down the hill, and rolling into the classroom. And so they had to walk by 3 assistant coaches' offices. The coaches were the counselors. because what it provided them is as they got to my door, if there was something on their mind, they could step into any assistant coach's office and talk to them. Those were the counselors. And so, but then it's evolved to where it is now, where you've got professionals on campus that can help these student athletes deal with it. And so it's something that obviously has become more and more important, and it's been, but I think it's always been there. I just think it's more recognized and then professionally dealt with. And so I've seen it, I've seen it all. I've had, like I said, Coach Lovato has been with me so long. She's done an unbelievable job mentoring and helping kids through tough spots, whether it's homesickness or, relationships, anything. I mean, there's so much in a young person's life, 18 to 22, and then when you're in a high-end, high-impact, high-importance program where there's such a premium put on winning and being great, and now with social media, I mean, it's, I have some players, they go, Coach, I'm not on social media. You just have to stay off of it. There's just so much criticism, and it's so unfair. I get it too, and there's people with, everybody's got an opinion like they got a belly button. And so you just have to, and there's no recourse, so it is hard, it's difficult, and I'm glad that we have these professionals on our campuses that can help these young people.
Right here in the middle.
Hey, Vic, Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. You talk about toughness a lot in your program from the first day you came on campus, and Rory kind of embodies that for your program. Haley Van Lith has put a charge into TCU. What problems does she present, and how has her toughness trickled down to the others on that team?
Yeah, I just, they have so many good players. Obviously, she can create for all of them, and they have kids that can line up on the perimeter and make shots. And so, and then when you have the aircraft carrier inside like they have, and we do too, we have two of them. And so when you have that inside, that draws attention. And so it really is problematic. And so you've got to really do a good job of handling the person that's creating. And I think that's where, Haley obviously can score at all three levels. She creates well for her teammates. She enjoys the assist as much as the bucket. And she's just a really tough competitor. I mean, I just think that's who she is. And so that's kind of the engine, I think, for them that kind of makes them go. And so, but I think just like with any team, I mean, they got great shooters. They just really can. It's why they've lost 3 games. So that's why they're who they are and what they've done. And it's hard. Winning's really hard, y'all. Like, it's really hard. And they went and won their league. And so you have to understand what you're dealing with. And they're obviously that's why they're a 2 seed.
Here to the left.
Yeah, Michael Volpo, ESPN.com. Coach, yesterday, Oldacre doesn't get as many minutes. It's just the matchups, as you said yesterday, are more Taylor's out there more with guards. How does that change going against TCU? Are Oldacre and Jones even more important in a different way because of Prince and just how you approach that?
Yeah, I think, both of them, they're going to have to do a great job, down low with Prince, and certainly both of them will get they'll get a dose of it, and so we'll have to be really good down there, and but again, I think you've got to do some work early with her, and at the same time, they really do a nice job. He was at Oregon, and a lot of that stuff that they've run for a long time, they continue to run at TCU, and so and they're really good at it. And again, when you've got a player like Haley who can kind of ignite it and run it, be the quarterback of it, it's, again, you're talking about a player that scores at all 3 levels, but can really assist at the same levels too. And so you've got to really be focused, but you can't lose focus. You can't lose, two out there on the perimeter, you can't lose any of them. They can all fill it up. And so if you're going to play horse with them, you're going to get beat. I mean, it's not good. So you got to really be diligent. Defensively, we have to be really sound and really, really solid so that we don't get into, some issues that they can present.
Our last question in the back.
All the way in the back. Ben Pickman with The Athletic. Just what do you remember about meeting Madison, beginning the recruiting process as a seventh grader? Like what stories, what moments come to mind of first getting to know her? And then how have you seen her evolve since the person you met back when she was in middle school? Well,
Obviously, when you're a seventh and eighth grader, I mean, you're recruiting kids that you may not have seen yet in a junior high game, but there's obviously talk and word on the street, so to speak, about a kid, and so we knew that she was someone that in our state at the time of Mississippi, I mean, there's not very many kids that come from that state that can play at the SEC level. So one of our philosophies at state was if we get one like that, you got to close the borders. You can't let somebody come in and, we fought off Kentucky, Florida, and somebody else for Victoria, Vivian's. And so, when Madison was young, we knew that she potentially could be that kind of player. And so the first time she came to campus, I think she came in like September 3rd, which means it's about 105 and the humidity's 110. And we're sitting under a tent with no breeze. And, we always did that. We always tailgated with our team and recruits, and it's hot. And, you're thinking, here's a kid that's in eighth grade, 5 years from now, shoot, I hope we win enough and I still got a job, and so, and then obviously she goes into her freshman year and she starts playing really, really well. And so you're keeping an eye on her. And, once I went to Texas, I really wanted to continue to recruit her. Loved her presence on the floor. I think when you start watching kids as they mature and develop, the thing that I really pay attention to is their presence on the floor. Obviously you want them to be really skilled and talented, but I always look at that presence piece because that entails a lot. Teammate, how hard they play, their basketball IQ, so many things, and she had it all. I mean, it was no question in my mind. And, watching her through high school, AAU, it was just somebody that I really believed could be what she is today. She's a two-time first-team All-American. She has a chance to do it. Texas, what never's been done, be a four-time All-American. She has a chance to rewrite the record books, and her jersey can hang in the Moody when she's done. I mean, she's that good, that talented, and that's special. When you can have that opportunity to leave a legacy and be that talented and that good, man. That's at a place like Texas where we've had a bunch of really special players. And so, that's really, really special. And she is such a special kid too, just a wonderful young lady, tremendous family, raised right, mom, dad, auntie, grandma, she has such a great support system. And so it's, she's just very, very special, very, very unique. And I have some others like that as well. I'm really fortunate to have that. And, so it was quite a long process when you start thinking about it. But once I got to Texas, I really wanted to continue to try to cultivate that a little bit because I just really felt like she could be who she is now. And boy, she's lived up to everything and then some probably for such a young, she's 19. Like she's 19. And I've said this before, some of y'all haven't heard me say this, but she's done what's the hardest thing to do is when it comes to individual awards, she's led from the front. She was preseason SEC Player of the Year, and then she went and did it. She was everybody's number one thing on the scouting report, and yet she still was able to go and achieve that. That's really hard to do. It's just like a team that's picked preseason number one, man. There's nothing harder than now you got to go live it. and because you're the target, and so you got to give the kid a lot of credit. And if she was sitting up here, she'd be bragging about her teammates. She's so humble, got so much humility, and but yet, man, she's a really special player, but a special kid.
Okay, thank you, Vic.
Appreciate everybody being here. Praise the Lord and hook 'em horns.
Good morning. Welcome back. Okay, we're ready for the Texas players. Please raise your hand and we'll get a mic. We'll start on the far right.
John High Fox 7 Austin. Rory, Coach was just in here talking about how TCU has some players that can make plays, but you guys do as well. How do you feel like y'all match up against them, and do you like your chances?
Yes, TCU does have great players. They're in the Elite Eight for a reason. They have great coaching and everything. So I can say the same thing about my team, though. We have great players, great coaching, great preparation. But when talent meets talent, talent doesn't matter anymore. So it's going to come down to the tougher team, the team that prepares the best, the team that's able to translate that preparation. But yeah, this is a game with some players that are very competitive, so it'll be a competitive basketball game.
Far right.
Cameron Teague with The Athletic. Rory, Coach was just in here talking about how special it is that when Madison came in to Texas, she was #1 on everyone's scouting report even as a freshman and still shined. I'm curious just what you see from then and even now that still stands out about Madison, that she can still do that even being #1 on the scouting report from everybody.
Yeah, it's just like being humble. You know, you're picked to be the player of the year, and anyone could just relax and be like, okay, well, yeah, it's going to be me at the end of the year, but that's just a preseason pick. What she did was she continued to go to work and understood that she doesn't want anybody else to get that, and so she worked really hard, and I'm just really happy and proud of her to be able to come in like that and develop and go through some adversity and go through some challenges, but that's what all builds her into the player she is today. And she can attest to like the mental challenges and the physical challenges of playing here and playing for these championships that we're playing for, but she would not trade any of that for the world. And I think playing with her and understanding that she just wants it so bad, that just makes it easier to play with her and easier to win more games like that.
Going to go to the left aisle.
Rory, Alanis Timms with the AP. You've talked about how mentally taxing it is to rehab and come back from a major injury. I'm curious what outlets or resources you leaned on during that process. Was there a therapist you talked to, a sports psychologist? What did you do to kind of take care of your mental during that time?
Yeah, you just lean on your teammates and lean on your coaching staff. I didn't necessarily talk to a specific sports psychologist during that time, but there's a lot of people around me that have been through that. I talked a lot with Shaylee Gonzalez from our team last year. She truly was there for me a lot, and someone who has previously tore her ACL. It was a while ago, but when some things like that stick with you. Like, it's hard to really let go, even though it's happened 4 or 5 years ago for her. But yeah, it is very mentally taxing, but it's just not something you can do alone. And I think even sitting here talking about it, I want anybody who's going through that to understand you can't do it alone, truly, and always reach out, always ask for help. Whatever it is that you need, just always ask, because no one's going to turn it down. Everyone's here working as a team, and I'm just glad to be in the position I am, to be playing basketball again, and I'm just grateful to be in the Elite Eight.
far left.
Newey Scruggs, NBC5 Dallas. Madison, question for you. You're obviously SEC Player of the Year. Last year, Big 12 Player of the Year. Now Haley Van List, Big 12 Player of the Year. There are people tuning in to watch you two play. Do you look forward to matchups like that where it's you and another player who's elite and people are saying, hey, there's a spotlight, there's two you got to look at?
I mean, well, for one, I think TCU is a great team that we saw in the Big 12 last year when we were Big 12, and just seeing them now how they're a completely different team. I think just one, like, our teammates are just like kind of like looking forward to that matchup. You know, it's a new team, like a different conference too. But for me, I'm just ready to play. I'm ready to win. I kind of look at the accolades because I think everybody's great for a reason here. I think that's why everybody's on this team. Like, both teams are talented. And I just think, like, we're about to look like a great comment. Like, when talent means talent, like what's there to bring? And but no, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like, you know, in high school, like I kind of watched her too, like at Louisville, LSU, and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
To the right.
Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. Rory, Haley came to the Moody Center and gave you guys some problems a couple of years back. Coach Schaefer always talks about toughness, and he brings you up when he says it, and she brings that to TCU. What problems does she present, and how are you guys going to try to slow her down?
Fortunately, that was 2 years ago, so hopefully a lot of things have changed, in which they have. Us as a team is different, and she's now on a completely different team, and so you can't really kind of look back at that. I don't. I'm looking forward to just playing Texas team this year, playing TCU's team this year, and but she's a great basketball player. Like I said, the 8 teams remaining in this tournament are here for a reason. They have great basketball players on them. They have great coaches and great coaching staffs that are preparing them for these games. But yeah, she's going to bring that playmaking ability. Obviously, like, she's going to be a focal point in our scout. And we're just going to do our best to prepare and understand, like, we just need to limit some of those things that she brings to the table.
Front right.
Wesley Branch, USA Today Network. Madison, for you, I know there's been some dialogue between you and Kevin Durant in the past, unless I'm wrong. What's kind of the story between how you guys met? What's your first memory of talking and connecting with Kevin?
I think just the first time was like kind of when I committed to Texas. I mean, he is a Texas alum. He played at Texas. I wear his number, so I think, you know, he was happy to see like somebody who was a fan of him, you know, commit to Texas. It was just kind of support from there. Then I remember him last year coming to our second round game against Alabama. I just think after that, it was just more like a support, like a family support, like a cousin support. And then this year I saw him, and he basically just kind of, you know, told us, you know, me and my teammates, you know, just keep going, keep winning, keep doing your thing on the court. But I mean, that's really it. It's really just support from both sides.
Any more questions? Okay, well, we'll go right here to the.
Question for both players. Your favorite tomorrow to win the game. Your thoughts on being the favorite?
Well, we're always going to pick ourselves. You wouldn't find an athlete that would pick another team to win. So, yeah, we're always going to choose ourselves when it comes to Texas, and I think that's kind of the thing that matters most. Throughout this whole season, we're going to always pick ourselves. So we trust in what we're going to do. We trust in our preparation, and we understand that this is a great basketball team. But, yeah, we're always going to choose ourselves at the end of the day.
I second that for sure. I'm with her.
Okay, our last question comes from Zoom. Corey?
Yeah, Corey Mose, ABC Sports in Austin. This is for Rory. Rory, I know you pride yourself on defense. I know you love that side of the court. Just how excited are you just for this matchup to kind of prove to the world about your defensive effort against Haley Van Lith and their other scorers up there on the perimeter?
Yeah, I feel like I don't really have to prove much. I've been doing this for a while, ever since I was a freshman, or even before college. I've been playing defense the way I do. I just, I'm just more fundamentally sound at it now. But I'm excited for that matchup. I'm excited for the competition. I'm always going to take on whoever their best player is. I love that. I take that with responsibility, and like my teammates say, my coach say, like how I come out and attack and punch on defense. That's basically how the team is going to play. So how hard I play is how we're going to play, and I'm always going to take that responsibility.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow.